Hello and welcome to Stocks Down Under. Today we're talking to Coby Hanoch, CEO of Weebit Nano. That company just published its annual report just yesterday. Coby, welcome.
Hi, Mark.
We looked at the top line number, of course, the revenue number in your annual report. You posted very strong growth. Talk us through what happened over the last financial year.
So I guess as you know, as everyone knows, we're continuing the commercialization. We signed an agreement with onsemi, and moving forward now, it's also public that we signed now recently with a first product company. And I think you can see in the quarterly and half-year reports the cash and the revenue numbers that reflect this move and progress in commercialization.
All right. And of course, in your quarterly reports, you report on cash flows. In your half-yearly and your yearly report, you focus a lot on the top line, the revenue line. Of course, those are two different things, and recognizing revenues is not an art. It's not a science either, but there's a methodology behind it, right? So can you talk our viewers through how that works for Weebit Nano?
Mhm. Yes, I think it's important for people to understand how this works so that they can also, kind of project the future as much as, understand from the annual report. So basically, cash payments, they come in and we, like you said, in the quarterly reports, we just report when we got cash. Cash comes in based on all kinds of parameters, mainly meeting milestones and things like that. Revenue, on the other hand, is recognized in a different way. And specifically, I'll focus right now on the license fee and NRE or the engineering work. We recognize both of those over the length of the project. So if there's a technology transfer project with a fab and it takes, 18, 24 months or so on, the revenue will be recognized prorated over that period, of course, based on the work done, etc. It's important to understand the differences. So not all, the numbers don't always correlate, but over time they will, of course.
Right. And you just announced a little while ago the first product company as a customer. Can you talk a little bit about how cash and revenue, so how cash will come in this case, and also how revenue in that specific case will be recognized?
Well, I won't talk specifically about that customer, but in general, with product companies, there's the license fee. In the case of product companies, we are doing what we can in order to avoid having to do any NRE, any engineering work. The whole idea is that the vast majority of the customers will use the standard module, and basically that will enable us to have very high margins, which is the whole idea about being an IP company. So in those cases, the whole project is basically one day or something like that, and then we recognize the cash and the revenue and everything upfront in those projects. So that's maybe the little difference between product companies and fabs where there's a long technology transfer process.
Right. So, and of course, we talked about the initial license fee, the upfront money coming in, the non-recurring
Yes.
Revenues from the design that you do, the design work and the collaboration with that customer, or with the fabs typically, and the IDMs. But if you look at the big moneymaker, of course, is royalties once the products go into mass production, the products that use your technology. For this product company, and hopefully you'll have many, many more in the next couple of years. But typically, how long does it take for royalties to kick in with these kinds of customers?
So these customers, you're right. There's the license fee is the key part in the beginning. You get it up front, basically. We hope not to have a lot of NRE, which means we'll be very efficient and have high margins. The product companies, they go into a design cycle to design their product. Now, some products can be very simple and designed in just a few months. Some of them can take a year and a half, and more if they're very advanced and complex. Once the product company actually has the design ready, they tape out, they get, as you know, it takes a few months to get the silicon back. They do the testing, and then it depends on the application space they're in. They need to do whatever quotes qualification for that specific application space, meet the requirements there, and then they can go into mass production. Royalties obviously come in once they hit mass production. So it can take anywhere between even half a year or 9 months for very simple short projects to a 2-3 year cycle until they get to mass production in complex products.
Right. Okay. And yeah, you spoke about margins just earlier. Of course, that's when the margin starts to come in, as in once you get that recurring royalty income, that's really where the margins are at their highest. Not specifically for
Yes.
Weebit, but
And obviously that's reflected at the end of the day in the multipliers that you have on revenue and so on.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. So not specifically for Weebit Nano, but if for these type of products with companies that have a similar business model to you, like IP companies, can you give a range for where those margins might be once these royalties kick in?
You can take a look at some of the other semiconductor IP companies. One of the companies that I refer to often, because they're the closest to Weebit, is eMemory. They're traded in Taiwan, so that's a good example. You can look at ARM. You could look at other semiconductor IP companies as well.
Okay, yeah, I saw the eMemory market cap was, I think, 7.7 or 7.8 billion. Yeah, so that's a pretty big number there. Last question, Kobi, because we can keep this short. We really wanted to talk about the revenues that came in, but just looking at the final couple of months of the year, are you still on track to meet the targets that you set out at the beginning of the year?
We're working extremely hard to meet them. There's a lot of work going on, and we believe, in terms of the fabs, in terms of the product companies, we're really in a good position. With DB HiTek, we talked just a month ago, and things haven't really changed much.
Excellent. Well, Kobi, congratulations on that big revenue number and the big growth that we're seeing for Weebit Nano. And yeah, exciting times for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.